In psychology, the false consensus effect, also termed consensus bias, is a widespread cognitive bias that drives individuals to perceive their behaviors, judgment, and choices as commonly acceptable and typical. People tend to overestimate the prevalence of their personal attributes, convictions, and behavior. Throughout the broader population, this illusionary consensus arises from a need for social acceptance and conformity, and often manifests as overconfidence. Such bias amplifies in collective environments where people hold a belief that their group's opinion mirrors the general consensus. Since disagreements within the group are minimal, members end up fostering a belief of a universal mindset. Interestingly, this effect extends beyond cases where individuals think their outlook aligns with the majority, and is more about over-projecting personal beliefs onto others in situations where the consensus is challenged. People who do not conform are routinely labeled as defective. There isn't a singular cause for this cognitive distortion. Various underpinning factors such as availability heuristic, self-serving bias, and naive realism are suggested. This bias might also stem in part from non-social stimulus. Reward associations, it persists due to a predisposition to make decisions based on limited information. Personal insights are projected onto a situation, leading to misconstrued generalizations and a false perception of majority alignment. The false consensus effect has been empirically validated through research. Earlier studies have pointed to cognitive and perceptual causes such as information accessibility, emotion, and motivated projection. However, contemporary research is focusing on its neurological mechanisms. One such study proposed that consensus bias might enhance decisions about others' preferences. Ross, Green, and House first introduced the concept of the false consensus effects in 1977. Bringing attention to the perceived commonality projected by individuals onto others. Similar projection phenomena were previously identified, revealing correlations between personal predispositions and the estimation of peers' behaviors. Recently, it has been found that professional decision-makers are also influenced by this bias, with experienced marketing managers projecting their personal product preferences onto consumers. This reveals the wide-reaching implications of the false consensus effect in our daily lives and professional decisions. Research on the false consensus effect and projection, two theories related to biased processing and social perception, has fundamentally enhanced our understanding of how inaccuracies develop in people's perception of social dynamics. The false consensus effect, the inclination to overestimate how much others share our beliefs and preferences, can be traced back to preceding theories, forming a key part of a broader framework of social perception research. Projection, the tendency to externalize our attitudes and beliefs onto others, is another significant facet of this framework, established by theorists such as Sigmund Freud, D.S. Holmes, and Gustav Itschiaser. D.S. Holmes particularly depicted social projection as a mechanism where people try to authenticate their beliefs by projecting their own traits onto others. In exploring the interaction between these theories, it emerges that social comparison theory, whereby individuals continually refer to their peers for validation of their own beliefs and attitudes, plays a prominent role. The prominence of the false consensus effect was established through a series of pioneering studies by Ross, Green, and House in 1977 in their innovative research. They provided empirical evidence that individuals generally overstate the popularity of their own preferences and beliefs. This research, conducted under both hypothetical conditions via surveys and in actual conflict situations, uncovered that people consistently anticipate extreme responses from those they perceive as having dissenting beliefs or attitudes. The impact of these groundbreaking studies was profound, leading to the publication of nearly 50 research papers on the false consensus effect within the decade that followed. Consequently, theoretical exploration on this topic expanded to include considerations of selective exposure and cognitive availability, salience and focus of attention, logical information processing, and motivational processes. The consensus among researchers is a recognition that these theories intertwine, suggesting that the false consensus effect is likely resultant from a blend of these factors, thus challenging the notion of there being a singular correct interpretation. In this study, involving 203 college students aged between 18 to 25, the average age being roughly 185, the participants were required to respond to a series of questionnaires on diverse social topics. They were to express their personal feelings on each topic and calculate the percentage of peers likely to share their views. The findings strongly indicated the presence of the false consensus effect, which was evident in 16 out of the 20 topics reviewed. This overwhelming presence of the false consensus effect can largely be linked to the specific group under examination. When individuals are asked to compare their own views to a group with which they are regularly in contact and consider very similar to themselves, the likelihood of the false consensus effect increases. The key insight suggested is that individuals who focus only on their preferred stance are more prone to overestimating its acceptance, thereby succumbing to the false consensus effect. This overestimation is usually because their preferred position is in their immediate consciousness. Taking actions that support this position may further emphasize it and potentially increase the false consensus effect. However, exposing such individuals to a diversity of positions could significantly reduce the false consensus effect. The underlying premise of this theory is that an individual's estimates of similarity among others are grounded in active and seemingly rational thinking. Fox, Yinon, and Meyraz conducted a separate study aiming to discover if the levels of the false consensus effect varied with age. The participants were divided into 4 different age groups comprising 200 individuals, with gender being overlooked as a factor like the former study. This study also deployed a questionnaire as the primary data collection tool. The findings suggested that the false consensus effect was prominently noticeable in all the groups, especially in the oldest age group, who displayed this effect in all 12 areas inquired about. The surge in the false consensus effect among the older age group may be attributed to the objective reasoning behind their decisions, consequent of their accrued life experiences and wisdom. Unlike their younger counterparts who lack these experiences and perceive those elder to them as unknowable, these findings suggest that, as people age, they tend to place more importance on situational attributions or life experiences than on internal attributions. This study underscores that benefits of the false consensus effect, including the perception of increased social validation, social support, and enhanced self-esteem. It also suggests that boldly overstating similarities in social situations might contribute to increased likability. The theme concentrates on a future orientation, particularly on the unseen convictions held by future others. The narrative is progressively directed towards unveiling the truth to these individuals, thus providing them the time they need to alter or adjust their beliefs.